Right. Right. Welcome, everybody, to our Tuesday, December 16th council meeting, hopefully the last one of the year. We are meeting here in chambers as well as on Zoom. We're going to go ahead and start with the invocation. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to do the invocation tonight, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Please join us.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful Christmas season, the opportunity to come together as a community to do the business of the city. We ask for your blessing this evening on our meeting, that we can do the business of our citizens and we can wrap up the year in good spirits. And we pray for your guidance and wisdom. We do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And we'll start off with roll call. Councilmember Severs.
Present.
Got to get used to that. Councilmember Kurtz. Present. Councilmember Ball. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Cargill.
Present.
Councilmember Spencer.
Present.
Councilmember Dunn.
Happy to be here.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Present.
Hey, first time we've had 7 in a while. Welcome, everybody. We are up to agenda approval. I know we've got we should have one request with regards to moving the appointments.
Yes, Mayor, so I'll make a couple of different motions here. One, I'll make a motion to move general business items 11A and B to what I guess we can call 8.5A and 8.5B.
Sure. So before 9.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of moving general business action items, which are the appointments of our Community Engagement Commission members, to just before workshop discussions number 9. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? My motion passes 7-0.
Mayor, one more motion I'll make to add a workshop discussion on the governance manual to item 9A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor, please say aye. Can we discuss it?
Yeah.
Okay, normally we don't with agenda items, but we can.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'll just make a couple of quick comments here. One, this is something that we've been trying to add to the agenda for the past couple of meetings. I think it's important to try to put a bow on this, especially before the end of the year when Councilmember Spencer and Councilmember Kennedy step off the council. I also think it's important that the council have a discussion about whether this is going to be on the agenda or not. Originally it was, then it was taken off. And so my purpose of the motion tonight is to make it so that we all can have this discussion to see if it's something we should be adding on tonight's agenda. If it's not something that we should be adding on tonight's agenda, I would like to propose, unfortunately, that we do another special meeting before the end of the year. And again, I think it's only fair to 2/3 of the committee that this council established on the governance manual to try to make sure that they have a role to play in the final adoption of it before the end of the year. So thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilmember Kurtz and then Councilmember Ball.
My comment for tonight is that I don't know that everybody's ready to discuss that because it wasn't on the agenda. And I don't know that we're going to be able to get through I don't even know how many chapters are left tonight in order to do that. And then as far as having a special meeting before the end of the year, I don't know that, I'm not sure if staff's prepared to do that. I'm not sure if people are in town to do that. So while I would love to have the people that did the work, I think there were other times earlier this year that we were able to and could have done this work, but we prioritized other council matters. So those would be my thoughts.
Thank you, Councilmember Ball, and then Councilmember Dunn.
I was just going to say that I wasn't prepared for that. I don't have my copy with me of all the documents. It was quite thick. Yeah, I'm not prepared. We weren't prepared because it was taken off the agenda.
Councilmember Dunn.
I echo the observation, as it was not on the agenda. I did not prepare for what I think is some important discussions that need to happen with respect to it. So,
Councilmember Severs.
I guess I am the least prepared here on this. I support the notion of trying to get it on as a special meeting before the end of the year, though.
Councilmember Kennedy.
We only have one chapter that we haven't discussed. That's chapter 21, pages 72, city advisory boards and commission. And then any other personal comments that any council member wanted to make.
Anybody else?
Uh,
Councilmember Spencer?
Yeah, I guess my question is, I know when the agenda went out, it was in the interest of that this meeting is a little bit more light, but it was on the draft agenda. So I'm curious at what point it was decided or decided by whom to have it removed for that reason.
Yeah, the city administrator pulled that off of the agenda specifically so that this meeting would be as tight as it could be, considering it's the last regular meeting of the year.
Well, and to Mayor Pro Tem's point of putting a bow on it tonight, this would need to come back for an action item. Tonight would just be a workshop, and there wouldn't be a bow put on it. There would have to go to another meeting for a final vote and adoption with all the edits done. So it wouldn't be done tonight regardless. So if there's no other comments, I'll go to a vote. So the motion was to add a workshop for the governance manual under item 9. Those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand. Hold them up there. Okay. Those opposed? Okay, those opposed, motion fails 4-3. Okay, next, yes.
Just so everyone knows, I will be making a motion for a special meeting later, but obviously we are under the agenda approval item right now.
Yes.
So if there are no other
No other amendments?
amendments,
Sound like it?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We have an agenda. We are up to citizen comments. So for those of you in the chambers, we have our white half sheets on the table next to the door over there. If you'd like to make a citizen comment, please fill that out and get it to Rochelle at the end of the table. If you have anybody online who'd like to make a citizen comment, please send a note to our meeting host in the chat feature. There will be another opportunity or two closer to the end of the meeting. We do have a couple of, we have second read ordinance and a resolution where we do take citizen comment as well. Do we have anybody online? Nope. Okay. So I will forego reading through the rules for that. Next up, we have announcements, proclamations, and special presentations. I will turn it over to Mark to start.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So you'll notice on the agenda, we have item 7A, B, and C, which are all recognition items. Due to some scheduling issues, we've decided for item 7A, we're going to forego that at tonight's meeting. And we are going to recognize those employees for their service milestones at the employee holiday gathering because none of them were able to make tonight's meeting. And I think it would be a more meaningful recognition process if we did that then. And so I know several council members are planning to attend that. And so that's the point in time which we will recognize those employees for those milestones and give them their certificates. And so with that, if there are any questions about that, fire away. If not, we can move down to item 7B, which is the Innovative Service Award. I'm going to invite Public Works Director Ben Turner up to the lectern, and he's going to describe to you, and hopefully this is something that we can do more often, at least once a year, maybe twice a year going forward. Just an opportunity to take a look within the organization and identify some work that's being done that is innovative on its face, and then talk about the value that it delivers to the community and service provision. So Ben.
Thank you, Mark. Could I have Chris, Colby, Tammy, and Steve come up here in this general area? So before I wrote a little recognition citation, but before I do that, I just want to publicly thank these four. They more than likely have the most thankless job in the city. They make sure that the grass on the side of the road is taken care of. They pick up all the leaves in the fall. So just publicly, I want to thank them. They don't get a lot of thanks. We get a lot more complaints than we get thanks from the public, but I'm grateful for this opportunity to recognize them. Okay, so Madam Mayor, members of council, we'd like to recognize the Roadside Division of Public Works for their innovative response to a challenge during this year's annual leaf collection. Due to an unexpected equipment failure, the team led by Chris
quickly adapted by sourcing a low-cost leaf vacuum from a local vendor and constructing a leaf collection trailer, which you've seen in our monthly report from this month and last, using existing equipment as well as a few supplies within existing budgetary controls. Thanks to their ingenuity and teamwork by the team, we were able to clean up all the leaves that have fallen. I think there's still a few left on the trees as of this morning, which is a record for us. And it was done efficiently as well. So not as many people, many days out there collecting. So their creativity, dedication, and problem solving exemplify the professionalism of our public works staff. And we are proud to recognize their accomplishments today. Thank you very much. I think we want to get a picture of them. I know Colby doesn't want to get his picture taken.
Yeah, so,
Do you want-
so what I would like, yes, I'd like to get everybody in the photo so we can commemorate this.
How are we doing?
The next time you see him on Country Vista Mall lawn, feel free to wave to him. Say hi.
I think Tammy's glad I moved because I look over my fence and chat her up almost every week. All right.
All right,
Good.
thank you, Ben. And for item 7C, which is the recognition of our outgoing city council members, I'm going to turn this over to the mayor and we can go from there, Mayor.
Well, it's sad to say that the Eagles have been retired. So we are switching our awards format going forward. But I'd like to take this time to recognize our 3 outgoing council members. So if you want to come up here and join me. Almost there's no landmines on the way.
I'm okay right here.
Well, you were first, you were on the top. So first, we'd like to recognize Councilmember Kennedy, in addition to his current stint on the council from January 2023 through December 2025. We also like to re-recognize his contributions to the Planning Commission and to the council in a couple terms before that. So join us in thanking Councilmember Kennedy. And May, I understand you're going on a long RV road trip. Is that correct?
January 1, we're heading south. We're not stopping till we hit 70-degree temperature.
Oh, well, all right. Well, maybe I'll see you in Mexico.
Thank you.
Right. Next up, we have Councilmember Jed Spencer. I remember meeting Jed when I was out knocking on doors years ago. I saw some guy getting out of a car in a suit and talked to him on the getting out of his car, and he went into this house a couple houses down, and I knocked on the door and I saw the name. Said, I'm like, oh, that must, because I'd never met Jed before. I'm like, that must have been Jed getting out of the car. Well, it wasn't. It was a guest, I think, coming for dinner. So he eventually did come to the door, but so that was my first meeting with Councilmember Spencer. So we'd like to thank you as well for your time here on the council, stepping up to fill in a slot that was open, and then continuing with us. So we recognize you for your service from June of 2022 through December of 25. Thank you very much. And for Mayor Pro Tem Cargill, I think the first time I encountered Chris, I called into the radio, Mike Fitzsimmons radio show when you were filling in years and years ago. So I've known about Chris for a long time, but I was real glad when he stepped up to run for first council and then was on planning commission before he got elected. So I know I was able to provide Chris with a dad joke button. So every time we come into a meeting, we get at least 2 or 3 dad jokes when we start the meeting. So this was his parting gift that I thought of when I saw it. So we want to thank Chris not only for his work on the planning commission, but also on city council from January of 2022 through December of 25.
Mayor, I think we
Skeletons ever go trick or treating? Because they have no body to go with.
There we go.
Mayor, I think we want to get a group photo for this one as well with the plaques. Oh.
Oh,
Everybody.
Yeah, I did side game report.
We'll Photoshop you in, Councilmember Dunn. Okay, next up, we have reports and inquiries. First up, City Council. Do we have any City Council reports tonight? Councilmember Ball.
well, it's not really a report, but I did attend the hearing last week on the Legacy Ridge 4 with the hearing examiner. Very interesting. There's no decision yet. It probably won't be made until January, is what Mark thought. But anyway, it was just interesting and a very good learning experience.
Thank you. And for those who don't know what you're talking about, can you elaborate?
The new part of Legacy Ridge, there's some, consternation over worries about, flooding and, just different things to do with the
I'm
land.
glad you had the
So-
opportunity to go to that.
Well, yeah, because it's a steep slope, so
Yep.
there's lots of sticky wickets in there. So
Got it. All right, I think I saw Councilmember Kennedy's hand going up.
I do, under inquiry. I think it's interesting, last meeting of the year, I've had more questions, more emails over this question I'm going to ask than anything I've been since I've been on the council. And it has to do, this is not geared to try to embarrass Councilman Ball at all, but it has to do with our last meeting where it came up the subject of, you said that there was 43.3% of the people who voted, and it was felt that that was not sufficient to be able to give sufficient information on what the citizens wanted. So these individuals who had contacted me, they said, is there a number? What is a number that should be adequate for the council to look at? So it's not intended for embarrassment. If you feel you want to answer that, that's great, or not, but that's the question.
no, I was just stating facts.
Okay, then also what was brought up is that if 43.3% of the people who responded is not sufficient for us to recognize that the citizens gave their opinion on the library, if we take that same analogy, we should not recognize the 2 individuals who were elected as city council members. So that is something that was pointed out to me, and I thought, I hadn't thought about that, but that's interesting. So, thank you.
Hey, anybody else? Councilmember Spencer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I attended a ribbon cutting over at the Spokane Valley Mall this last week. There is something called a giving machine that just was rolled out. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sponsors this, And it's the first time they've ever had this in the Spokane area. Basically it's vending machines, and that you go in and purchase things for local charities or global charities. So whether that's, water for wells in Africa, or there were several local charities. And you can find more information about that at givingmachinewa.org. And then on Facebook, and I think there's an Instagram as well, but it's just search up Giving Machine Spokane. But they will be there at the Spokane Valley Mall through January 1st. And like I said, there's 2 machines. You can go up there, put your credit card in, select the different things you want to purchase, and all the proceeds go to those charities. So the church actually pays the credit card fees and all that. So 100% of what you select goes toward that charity. And I think there's about 5 local charities. So anyway, so go check it out. It's kind of cool. Something we've never had here before. So
Great, thanks. I saw some posts about it, but I wasn't sure what the rest of the information was. That's great.
yeah. I think just about all the Spokane Valley City Council was there. They kind of mostly just invited the people within that that area. But so anyhow, pretty cool.
Nice. All right. Any other council comments or inquiries? All right, not hearing any. My mayor's report's pretty short. We had a couple of interviews for our Community Engagement Commission members who we will be, hopefully you guys will be confirming tonight. GSI Legislative Forum, I actually ended up missing that. I was not feeling well that day. And still coming up this week, we have the GSI Regional Advocacy Committee and the Valley Chamber of Commerce Holiday Open House. So I'll be getting up early for that tomorrow. And then I don't think any more meetings for that until we come back in January. So City Administrator report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So looking at some information related to city operations, we've got a fairly short report tonight. And to start out with just a couple of reminders, we've got some upcoming holidays that we want to remind everybody about. Christmas holiday coming up on Wednesday and Thursday of December, the 24th and 25th. And on those 2 days, City Hall and the library will be closed in observance. And then a week after is the New Year's holiday. And believe it or not, we'll be ringing in 2026 with the New Year's holiday and observing, and in so doing, City Hall and the library will be closed in observance. Any questions about those before we move on? We've got a couple of items on the agenda that we want to go over. The second item, our second meeting of the month, we've distributed the departmental reports, and now is the council's opportunity to ask department heads questions about any of that information.
Councilmember Ball.
Yeah, I have a few things. Under the Public Works, where is the greenhouse that's being built? I didn't know we were building a greenhouse.
So we purchased a very small greenhouse for the Public Works yard. So it's actually right by the entrance there. So that's going to allow Dan and Todd to basically propagate plants from the city. Hopefully save us a little money. So they're just about done with that. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Next time you're out, we'll have to give you a tour.
Yeah, and then, well, maybe you'll know this too. What's the deal with tree bases for the Christmas trees? Were they blowing over?
Yes. That's
Is
a
this
parks question, but I know the answer to that. Yes.
So is that what those cross things are?
Yeah. So I think they tried the little cross thing like Charlie Brown, and that didn't quite work when the wind got a little gusty. So I thought I saw a post that Battle of the Branches is now over.
Jen's on. You want to pipe in, Jen?
Yeah, so regardless of the base size, with these winds and the past winds, there's really no keeping them up at Orchard Park. So we are making the tough decision to take them down early with a couple of wind events, and then one potentially coming up in next week also, taking them down, and we're going to reevaluate next year so we can have them set in a little bit heavier base.
Okay, all right. Let's see, and then I have a question for Lisa. Of course, right? So, Bella Lago.
Yes, Bella Lago.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like it's making progress. Is there going to be another ingress and egress besides that one road?
So at this point, I don't believe so. We have not seen yet what I believe they were just looking at the entrance into it. We still haven't gotten the information that we need to do the reasonable use exception review. And again, the issue of whether or not there would be a second approach would be something that would likely come out of the preliminary plat hearing. So we've got a long way to go before there's a hearing on the preliminary plat, and the critical path for this project is that they have to get us the information so that a decision can be made with regard to whether or not a reasonable use exception can be granted. Can't even do the SEPA on this until we have that information.
Okay, so it's not happening anytime soon. Okay.
That's probably true.
Yeah, okay. And then also, I think this was under yours, the sidewalk master plan. Who are the stakeholders you referred to?
So we put together, I presented to council, I think a meeting or two ago, a few meetings ago regarding the sidewalk master plan. So we have some representatives from various commissions. We have the Bike Ped Safety Committee. We've invited all of those folks.
Okay.
We have someone from STA that is representing that. We have Lance Beck with the Valley Chamber is going to represent the business interests. We have I have a complete list that I can share with you. I just I can't give it to you off the top of my head. Sorry.
All right.
But we've got about a dozen people or so. We've reached out to the school district. We've invited them to the table. We have not yet gotten a representative for the school. But again, people that have a stake in the issue of sidewalks and accessibility, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Sure, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions on the director's reports? Okay.
Right, and very quickly, we've got, and this may seem like a replay from last week's meeting. It's not. It's, we're talking about similar conditions, but it's a different event. And so as Evan's pulling up just a few slides, primarily just to illustrate the issue, we've received through the National Weather Service and the county's Office of Emergency Management another severe weather alert that actually began yesterday, but the most severe conditions are going to be overnight tonight into tomorrow. And you'll see that there's going to be sustained winds of between 25 and 45 miles an hour with gusts up to 70 miles an hour. And so that's concerning. And so just be aware of that. And if you have issues with property and equipment that you need to batten down, now's the time to do that. There's some hydrology, rain issues, and potentially rising water. Not so much in this area, although we do have our eyes on the Centennial Trail. And if there's an issue with water rising to the level of the trail, the coordinating committee will make a decision to leave the trail open or close it based on those conditions. The trail runs through portions of Liberty Lake. So if that does occur, we will be notifying people of that. And then, Evan, if you go to the next slide. You can see the risk outlook there, and one up from the bottom is our area, this Spokane CDA metro area. You'll see the rest of today, it's basically the breezy rain. Going into tomorrow, we see the extreme conditions, and that's overnight tonight into early tomorrow, those severe wind and thunderstorm conditions. Next slide, Evan. And we'll go through these really quickly. Chances of gusts greater than 50 is 100%. Next, Evan, greater than 60 is 75%. So that's likely. And then greater than 70%, Evan, next slide is 20%. So just be aware, be careful. Next slide, Evan. If you're traveling, we're coming up on Christmas week. People tend to want to get an early start on that. Just be aware of these conditions. If you're going west, it's going to be pretty gnarly. If you're going east, it's going to be less gnarly, but a little gnarly. And so keep those in mind, and keep the National Weather Service or some kind of weather app open and operating and giving you updates. Next slide, Evan. And another opportunity to plug Alert Spokane. If you go to the county website, it's down there on the bottom, SpokaneCounty.gov, and you see the rest of it. You can find it if you just go to SpokaneCounty.gov, sign up for alerts. And as these conditions are evolving and changing, you will get those alerts on your preferred device. And I think that's the last of the slides on this. Yes. And if there are any questions, be happy to answer.
No, but I think gnarly is your word of the day.
All right, I think now I'm gonna re-invite Ben back to the podium. We've got an update for you on the City Hall project.
Right, joining us this evening is Amanda from BCRA before she shows you some of the updated photos. So we've recently completed the design development phase, which was really the big chunk of the work. The floor plan hasn't changed much from what we showed you last time, but we've got some updated finishes and a few other things that we're going to share with you tonight. The good news is we are still under that $6 million figure that we talked about at the end of the schematic design. And after Amanda's done, I can go over some of the alternative bid items that we've also included that are roughly about $500,000. So I'll go over those once Amanda's shown you some of our updated images.
Thank you, Ben. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. So I'll be sharing the design development updates. So as he mentioned, there's really no major changes. This is just taking the design as it was and continuing to develop it and add more detail, get a realistic view of what it's going to look like, hopefully. So if you'd like to advance to the next slide. Really the only changes I'd like to call your attention to, one of them being back in the council chambers, the wall behind the dais, we have added a curve to. This is not only to improve the visual aesthetic, but we feel it's also going to improve the acoustic quality of the space. We did a lot of acoustical studies on that and what's going to provide the best experience both for council and the audience. And so this is a reflection of that research there, which you'll see a 3D image of as we proceed through the presentation. And then the only other changes are really just furniture related. There's a medium conference room right off of the lobby on kind of the lower right. That furniture has changed in response to feedback we received about providing a more casual gathering space. So this would still have a conference height table, but an upright lounge chair. So it could be a little bit more of a casual meeting, but you could still certainly sit there with laptops and make it more formal if you need to as well. And then the furniture outside of the community development department, kind of in that open office on the lower left, we are showing some more collaborative furniture that could be there until you need to expand with workstations in the future. If you'd like to advance to the next slide, please. This is the reflected ceiling plan. No changes here. We can advance to the next slide. Also, no changes to the finishes. There have been some really slight tweaks to what the specifications actually are, but this is the same design intent. So same for all intents and purposes. We can move on. So this is a view of the lobby space kind of right next to the vestibule as if you're coming out of one of those conference rooms. One of the changes we made is adding sort of like a soffit, or I like to call it an eyebrow above the council chambers entry. This is to give it kind of a similar hierarchy and priority as the reception and permit counter, but still differentiate it enough for wayfinding purposes. The added functional benefit is with that eyebrow, you'll be able to add security cameras mounted to that and kind of conceal it a little bit. And then we also just refined the design of that reception and permit counter as well. We will have a coiling security door there, so that can be closed after hours or as needed for security purposes, and we're working through all the details on that. We're also showing some placeholders for some artistic installations that will be coordinated with the Parks and Arts Commission. So all that's to be determined, but just wanted to show a layer of personality in the space that you'll see present. You can move forward, please. This is turning back the opposite direction. Again, just kind of showing you that added layer. We've plugged in some placeholder images with some historical photos of Liberty Lake, some zoning maps, that sort of thing, just for some context and also a little bit of color in the hallway that's leading to the restrooms. You can go to the next slide. Of course, you got to see what it's going to look like with the Christmas tree. So here's our lobby towards the conference rooms. You see the nice visibility and connectivity between the lobby to the council chambers and those conference rooms alike. And then you can go to the next slide. So this is just taking out the Christmas tree so you can see what the actual space is going to look like. We didn't want you to feel like there's smoke and mirrors or that we're hiding anything here. This is what the space will look like. You can see there's lots of space if you want to add in three-dimensional art or things like that on rotation. There's certainly the opportunity to do that, as well as support a large group of people that might need to move throughout the space. Next slide, please. This is the council chambers, so you're seeing the curved wall at the back there. We've got an acoustical material that's going to look like wood installed on the back, as well as some niches with some monitors, which are quite large. They've actually increased a little bit in size since we did this rendering, just to maximize visibility for everybody in the space. And then again, adding some visuals for the artwork and such. And the next slide, please. Looking back the opposite direction, I think really the only thing here, aside from adding some artwork on the walls, is you can notice the lip that we have on the dais. So that's really meant to provide an opportunity for some power outlets, not be able to see all the cords, notebooks, whatever you may have, really clean up the view from the community's perspective. Next slide. And then we did, where's Waldo? We included the cats. There's a couple different landing spots for those. Although I do think the eyebrow outside the chambers could be a good spot for those too, Mayor. On to the next. This is back in the executive lounge. So again, this is one of those spaces that's been identified for future expansion where you could add 4 to 6 workstations. But we're proposing day one, you could have a nice casual space for meetings or gatherings of any sort. On to the next, please. And then this view is from the open copy mail area back towards reception. So you're in staff space, looking towards community space. And you can notice that all the walls are low. This is to help with visibility, transparency, and security through the space. Help make sure that whoever's up at that reception station never feels alone, and that there's always good light filtration through the space as well for all of the staff. And then you can also see there's going to be adequate storage there below, really nice countertop for assembling things or doing whatever you need to do. And then there's a really large island there to the right. And if you move to the next slide, you can get another view of that. So if you just pivot in the opposite direction, this shows opportunity for more storage on that large work table. And then it's a little hard to tell, but it's kind of in the middle towards the back. There's a mail area to receive packages and store things somewhat out of sight while maintaining openness of the space. And then we're also showing the open collaborative furniture. We can have a mobile monitor back there. This can really take any shape or form that's going to best support the department that works there. And on to the next slide. This is the antechambers. With the curved wall, we did end up shrinking the casework that's in the antechambers. So there's a little bit less countertop here, but you still have about 5.5 feet there for catering or laying out brochures, paperwork, projects, whatever you may need to do. And then we're also showing a couple whiteboards and a monitor. So this would be a really great space to get together and talk about whatever you need to talk about, be comfortable without it being, over the top. It's a pretty typical conference room. And then I believe there's one more slide. Actually, there's going to be 2. So this is an open collaborative space that's near the finance department or the admin department. There's a door into the IDF right there, but this is just another opportunity for staff to gather and have a quick impromptu conversation or discuss things as they may need to if they don't want to sit in a formal conference room. So there's a monitor there, and then you can also see the open workstations beyond. And then we've also included a clerestory window, which you can see back there, just trying to include as much light into the space as we can while being sensible with the budget and coordinating with structural. And next slide, please. And then last is the staff break room. So this shows that space, a little bit of seating for up to about 6 or 8 people at one time, though we understand will probably only be used by a few folks at one time. We can add some artwork in there, a little bit of accent lighting and some storage. So it will be probably well and above what you really need, but our hope is that it will grow with you. And I believe that concludes it. If you want to try to click forward, that should be it.
Question?
Yes.
Question, could you go back to the screen that shows from the audience looking at the dais? Probably about 5 or 6 back. Yeah, that one there. One of the things that have been discussed on several occasions was the possibility of raising the dais. And I know that I thought we came to somewhat of a general consensus that that's what the council wanted. I do know that one time when I brought it up, that the audience, I looked at the audience and they were all shaking their head because I think I've spent more time out there than I've spent here.
Mhm.
And the challenge is when you're sitting out there, they can't see council members because of where you are. And these individuals can't see council members because of all of this. So I really try to emphasize the importance of raising that, and the cost is irrelevant when it comes to the benefit of the citizens being able to see exactly who they're dealing with.
Yeah, we definitely understand that concern from a functionality standpoint. That is something that we studied after the last city council presentation. Aside from cost being an issue, it's ADA. We would need to add a ramp that's going to take up such a significant amount of space in that room that you would reduce the amount of community members that you'd be able to sit in that space very significantly. I don't have that plan with me, but it's something we could follow up with. But when we were discussing that, it just seemed like a non-starter for the size of that space. So I don't want it to seem like we didn't study it. We definitely did.
I would hope from a citizen standpoint that the study just gets it done.
Mhm.
Okay, ADA is important. My daughter was in a wheelchair all of her life. I'm very sensitive to that. I'm very sensitive to ADA requirements. I think that is a small price to pay to give up space. We have a lot of space there that I think can be utilized, and really it's for the benefit of the citizens. And that's what we need to look at, is what's the benefit of the citizens. Thank you. This looks really good.
Councilmember Ball next.
So in the same slide, are those these chairs, or are they new chairs?
They will be new chairs. That's the plan so far.
Okay.
We haven't gone through the official furniture RFP yet. We've got some placeholders in there for budget, but the current plan is that they would be new.
Okay, they look like they're very hard. Do they have a cushion?
Oh, the ones that are out in the audience. Yeah, those ones, definitely new. There's a lot of chairs out there now that are like a polyflex material. So they have like an ergonomic quality. You can kind of bounce back and forth, but yes, they definitely have a cushion to them. The upholstered, I think the thought was that they could have something kind of like a poly material that's really easy to wipe off, like a faux leather,
Yeah.
basically. But we can also do sit tests. That's one of my favorite things to do when you finally get into furniture, and make
Yeah.
sure that you're really happy and you know what investment that you're making, because furniture is a big deal.
Yeah, I just hate for them to be horribly uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Would that be a tush test?
Yes.
And then also in the space that you said could be extra office, is that was down in the, or well, looking at that one particular rendering, the lower left?
Yeah, if you want to go back to the floor plan, and I'll clarify too, it's not extra office, it'd be open office, so workstations.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that community development corner, so the lower left, we could fit 3 to, depending on the density, if they're 7 by 7 or 8 by 8, probably just 3 workstations, but you could certainly fit probably 6 or more if you densified. And then up at the executive lounge, which is the upper left, where you're currently seeing a sofa and some chairs, that was the other opportunity to add in some additional workstations in the future. So 4 to 6 easily could go there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we will look at a furniture system that will have a kit of parts and be flexible and adaptable. So if you do need to grow it or move parts and pieces around it, we'll be able to be flexible for that use.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, next we had Mayor Pro Tem and then Councilmember Severs.
Just to piggyback off of what Councilmember Kennedy had to say, do you know at the moment what height the dais will be?
Well, the surface side will be around 28 to 29 inches high, which should be about what you're experiencing now. And then it should come up about 6 inches from there. So around 36 or 37 inches would be the finished height. That will be a custom piece of furniture. So it has not been designed.
Yeah.
We have lots of time if there's additional feedback about that piece.
I don't have much feedback other than to say, I think the shorter, the better, because then you can see more of the council member. And I don't know if you guys had anything to do with this or were involved with the planning of the Spokane Valley council chambers, but they have a dais so high that basically you can only see about half their face, especially if they're vertically challenged, which some of us are. So, the lower it seems to me, the better.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
We had Councilmember Severs next.
I think your plan view answered my question. I'm sorry, I'm new, so it's the first time I'm seeing this. Would that be our executive chambers just to the top left of the council chamber?
Exactly. Yep. Just on the other side of that curved wall.
What's-
It's called antechamber on the plan.
Sorry, I can't.
That's okay.
Too
Yeah.
small for me to see
Yeah.
from here. What are the dimensions of that conference room?
It's about 12 feet wide and I want to, I don't have the length memorized. It's probably somewhere around 20 feet long. Yeah.
So plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
That was my
Yeah.
question.
I've spent a lot of time
This
with
looks
Furniture World,
wonderful.
so
Thank
I
you.
like to make sure there's lots of clearance for pulling out chairs and walking around people. So absolutely.
Councilmember Kennedy and then Councilmember Spencer.
I've already spoke, so Spencer go
Okay.
first, then I will.
Sure. And I think I mentioned this last time. I'm assuming with the audio visual that you guys are not just going to show the same thing on every monitor, that there would be the ability to show some of the council members as they're speaking or whatever up on the screen so that they can see better. Does that sound about right?
That's a little outside of my scope. So
Yeah.
Mark, I don't know if you want to speak to that.
So what I will say to that is anything is possible if we're willing to pay the cost associated with delivering it. So multi-channel AV is going to be more expensive than single channel, but if that's a priority, we can certainly look into what it would take to deliver that.
I just suspect that may be a cheaper route than adding the ADA ramps and all that stuff.
Sure.
Okay, Councilmember Kennedy.
I'm really pleased to see how this is progressing. I really am. This goes back a good 9-10 years ago or more that we started looking at and spent a lot of time and effort realizing that we were in the process of outgrowing this in a relatively short period of time, and we've done that rapidly. So I'm really excited to see that building is being utilized for that. The thing I wanted to finalize with is the ADA. Keep in mind that if in the future we have somebody who runs for council and is elected who's in a wheelchair, you will be putting in a ramp. So my recommendation would be, let's be forward thinking, do it now.
Well, the way we've designed this is that there would be no ramps required. This is already completely ADA compliant, aside from if we were to raise the dais. So the way we've approached the restrooms, the approach to the sink in the break room, the clearances in the walkways, it's all being considered there already. So
The dais would be elevated to the point of being able to be seen.
that would be the one piece that wouldn't be ADA compliant. So
That-
yeah,
And that would be my concern.
okay. Yeah.
That would be my concern,
Mhm.
because if somebody does get elected, and then sooner or later
Mhm.
it will happen, the first thing will be, how do I get up there? Not me personally. Would be, and we will be spending the money to put in a ramp at that point.
So if we raise the dais, we're required to make it ADA compliant. So that would have to go with
Right.
raising the dais.
Thank you.
Hold on a second.
This
Councilmember,
great.
sorry, Councilmember Dunn, we hadn't heard anything from you. I didn't know if you had any questions.
I just offer that elevating the dais isn't as important to me, and on the notion of height, I really don't relish the notion of looking down at people in the audience. So I'm not a fan of needing to have like elevated dais positions.
Right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, you had your hand up.
I'm not really sure if this is something that you guys have to do now or if it's something that can be done at a later time. But can we go back to the picture of the chambers? One of the things that ever since I've been on this council, and I know beforehand as well, that we've always talked about is trying to get the vote board somewhere in that room so that it is visible who is voting for what, as opposed to just hands raised or anything like that. So is that something that you need to contemplate now, or is that something that can be done at a later time?
So that's something we have started coordinating. That kind of goes with the other comment about the AV where it's not necessarily in my scope, but what we are doing is we're making sure that as far as the construction documents go, we're planning adequate backing in the wall. So whatever fancy equipment needs to be mounted can be supported without needing to go in and make further adjustments soon after moving in, or hopefully ever.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councilmember Severs and then Councilmember Ball and then Councilmember Kennedy.
I appreciate your comment about safety. I'm just curious if our police chief or police department has reviewed this or for any tips or thoughts they have. And I'm sure you've got tons of training on this. I'm
That's
just out of
it's
curious.
a great question. No, they have not specifically. We've engaged with them for their component that's specifically related to the police department back during some other master planning phases, but no, not in relation to this plan.
I'm just thinking I would appreciate their feedback on this to take a look.
Yeah, I think it'll be critical to engage them when it comes to the coordination of all the security cameras and that component at a minimum. For now, I can tell you what we're doing is making sure that we're working with the community development department. We're designing to all of the building codes and fire standards and that sort of thing. But we can certainly work with them on this as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Councilmember Ball and then Councilmember Kennedy.
So back to the voting, we talked about, well, I know I
Mhm.
talked about having like a button when you
Mhm.
vote. Is that?
That's
beyond
something
your
that can
scope?
come. That's one of the things where we're planning for power to come in from under the dais.
Okay.
So we'll have some slab trenching that we'll have to account for to accommodate that. And then there will be adequate power in order to accommodate any sort of button if we decide to go that direction. And then we'll
Mhm.
also coordinate it with the furniture at that point if that's the direction it goes.
Okay, so that's kind of like out of your
Down the
scope.
road, yeah, it's something that we try to make sure gets continually communicated with all the teams. But it's not in our exact scope.
So,
Yeah.
Linda, just as an FYI, so the electronic voting is fairly easy to deliver. We can do that now with our software. The issue is making sure that, like Amanda said, we have all of the power requisite to run all of the devices that are going to be needed, and then having an AV system that can display the results efficiently and accurately. And so those would be the two items that we would need to make sure are built in. The software that we have it currently is able to accommodate electronic voting.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Go,
did you want to?
I was just gonna say, was there any other comments?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
another question from Councilmember Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. Could you go back to the screen showing the outside the chambers? What that's gonna look
You want the
like?
Christmas tree or no Christmas tree?
No, what you're showing right there. Is that a screen on the far left that I'm seeing? So if somebody's standing out there, they're not inside, they can actually still continue. to go on.
Well, I think what you're seeing is a screen through the glass, because there is a glass wall system with some glass doors essentially there. If you want to go back another slide, one more. Okay, so you can see, I apologize, it's not in the best view here, but kind of in the corner there, we're showing how we could have mobile monitors out in the
Oh,
lobby.
good, okay.
And so that could be addressed as a furniture piece. And then that's another one of those things, we're planning the infrastructure as far as having power conveniently located throughout the space so that that monitor or monitors could move around wherever it makes sense for the occasion.
Yeah, I think it'd be very advantageous for our citizens that get tired of sitting or not able to sit for a period of time. They could walk out there and still be able to observe what's going on in the meeting.
Completely agree.
Thank
yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And then the last comment I'll make, I know Ben was going to discuss some of our bid alternatives. These were kind of based on feedback that we received. All of the images that you have seen in front of you today, these renderings, they include base bid items. The one exception is the clear story windows that we were showing in the council chambers. And that was feedback that we received from a few of you during our one-on-one meetings. So those we were showing in the renderings, but everything else will be an additive alternative. So that's that.
All right, so as Amanda just stated, so this shows a kind of a vinyl composite tile, I think, in this image. And so a lot of the alternate bid items are upgrading materials for things that are just gonna last a lot longer. So I think previously we showed a tile or a herringbone tile in that area. So that takes up a little bit of the alternatives. We've also got the cantilever openings in the chamber. Some cleanup of the masonry and some additional exterior cleanup and paint. Replacing the entire roof is really the big one. So of that $500,000 that we kind of put together is added a bit on. That's 60% of it, $300,000 right now. And that building was built in 2001. So it would probably behoove us to take care of the roof now if we can afford it. And we'll find that out when we get bids back in a few months. But that's probably my number one priority, is take care of that roof. Because like I said, it is 25 years old. And then we've got, like I said, the clear story windows, and there's a few connection points with the police station across the parking lot as well. So that's kind of the sum of the alternative bid items that we've kind of put together for bid. And just to go over a quick schedule for you, schedule update. So we've completed the design development phase roughly today. For the next few weeks through the holidays, they're going to work on getting the construction documents done. The intent is to have those done really by the second week of January, go through those. And our intent is to put this out for solicitation by the 24th of January. Have it out there for about a month and award on my birthday, 19th February. All things considered. So that's really what we're looking for. And then obviously we've been talking with Legacy Church, and that's gonna have a lot of moving parts there that are gonna have to happen this spring. But and I think we're looking at roughly a 9-month construction schedule. Obviously we'll hear back from contractors, but it sounds like we have some very hungry contractors that are interested in a project like this, which should help us. Our estimate of our construction estimate is not $6 million. That includes a lot of the design fees and all of the furniture and AV systems, things like that, soft costs. We're shooting for that as a 50%, so a 50% in that little statistics diagram. So we expect to have bids lower than that. So right now, so hopefully they're low enough to pay for a new roof without having to increase the budget much more than it is right now.
Great. Looking forward to it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And so, Mayor, that concludes my report.
Okay, next up, Liberty Lake Sewer and Water District. Still nothing. All right, well, we'll save a placeholder if somebody shows. All right, next up,
Madam Mayor, observation.
Yes.
I actually did catch up to Nada earlier today regarding some emails that I received from a Gene Cohen, a citizen, talking about annexation north of the river. I've asked Nada to address City Council, not tonight, but in the next available meeting. So watch for some more information on that.
Great, thank you. Okay, we are up to our what used to be general business action items A and B. So first up is the appointment of Ralph Carlberg to the Community Engagement Commission. If you'd like to join us, we had our interviews last week. And I know everybody's got, I think your application is in the packet, but if you just take a minute to tell us a little about yourself and why you were interested in the Community Engagement Commission. There's a commission member, myself, David, all did the interview, so we're excited.
All right, yeah. Well, I've just lived in Liberty Lake since May, but we're really happy with the community. And I like to be involved in the community, see what's going on, and see if I can help a little bit, because democracy is hard in any kind of a situation. So if I can help, that'd be great. And I've had quite a bit of experience with various forms of collaboration. I was well, in business, I led strategic planning meetings, team building efforts, that kind of thing. And we're just moving from Winthrop, and happy not to be there right now.
Yeah.
Boy. And but it's a very collaborative community, and I was involved in a number of efforts over there. So anyway, I'm looking forward to working with Liberty Lake if I can do that.
Great. Does
Makes
anybody
a
have
small
any
difference.
questions? No questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve my appointment?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Ralph Carlberg to the Community Engagement Commission.
Second.
We have a second by Councilmember Kennedy. Any questions before we move to the vote? Not hearing any. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Welcome.
Look forward to
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up. All right, next up, we have Brittany Sitton. And after failed attempts on both of our parts, we had a little bit of hard time coordinating schedules, but finally had a chance to interview Brittany, who I've known in the community for several years now. Again, we went through the regular interview process like we always do. And so we'd like to appoint Brittany. Now, Brittany's background check is not in yet, so you'll notice the motion is a little bit different. I don't expect any problems, especially given your profession. So we would like, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Brittany, and then any questions.
All right, well, I'm Brittany. I've lived in Liberty Lake for 13 years and I love this community.
We had it back this afternoon, so no condition.
Can I prepare these?
No. This is good.
Crimes yesterday. Anyway, I have 3 children that I've raised here. My daughter's a sophomore at Ridgeline, coached softball there the last 4 years, and
noticed that there was a vacant spot to make things a little better, and so I thought I would throw my hat in the circle.
Super.
See how it goes.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Brittany? No. And so when we get a motion, we'll take off that last piece about being conditional.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment of Brittany Sitten.
However you want.
All right, to the Community Engagement Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 7-0. Welcome to you too. All right.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to a good, great 2026 and beyond with you guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, next up, we are up to general business consent agenda.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve general business consent agenda items 10A, B, C, and D.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Spencer. Any for consent agenda, so there's no discussion. Those in favor of approving consent agenda items A, B, C, and D, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're up to council comments. Any additional council comments before we move on? No. Oh, Councilmember Ball?
Yeah, I was concerned too about that situation Dan was talking about, the gentleman with the property in Otis Orchard. So glad he brought that up. But also there was that email about the meeting tonight, the council or county council meeting and scraps, and talked to Mark about it, but apparently they're doing everything okay, right, by the book.
I'm not sure what the full extent of the amendments they're proposing are, but with respect to the email that we received.
Right.
Those things are not a concern for us.
Right, yeah, so anyway, I think since we are allowed to have them present, at least once a year, I think toward the beginning of the year, we should have scraps come in and just give us an update on how things are going, because we haven't had them here since they got a new director and so forth. So I would like to just make that something we could have done.
We can certainly request that.
Yeah.
And just again, for background's sake, you're talking about the city of Spokane asking for some amendments to their new contract with them. Is that what you're talking about?
Council. I'm sorry, the what am I trying to say? The county council. They're meeting tonight. They're gonna be talking.
Oh, I thought it was Spokane City Council.
No, it was the county commissioners.
County commissioners. I think.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Commissioners. Yeah.
That's my
The
understanding.
scraps works for them, so I was confused because they said there's a contract.
Well, no, there was a citizen that was concerned that they're gonna have people doing the jobs that the normal people that go out and get the mean dogs, or that they're not qualified, that they're just staff, but apparently anybody on the staff is trained according to that
Yeah. I was looking to Mark.
information you gave me.
I'm not 100% familiar with Scraps' internal training procedures. What I can tell you is based upon the way that the RCW is structured, folks that have that designation are able to enforce animal control and animal management ordinances with the same abilities as, say, a code enforcement officer would be able to enforce municipal codes. How Scraps recruits, trains, those are outside, I think, of the scope of the email we received. We can certainly look into those things and maybe have them address those when they come to make a presentation. I'm not prepared to discuss what those are right here, but.
Oh, no, I'm just suggesting that they should come and tell us
Sure,
how this
yeah.
all works,
Yeah.
so great, we can properly answer, constituents that send an email if they're concerned.
Super.
So,
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any other? Councilmember Kennedy.
I do. I felt this is very important to get this on the record. And what I'm basing this on is that we're going into the first of the year and we have 4 new council members coming in. Some individuals who had experience in the past, but also had mentioned that had not really been up to par what's going on the last few years. A big item that has been a hot item for a long period of time is that being able to get a library and a community center built on there. And there's been a lot of confusion along the way. But one thing that always comes up a lot with council is that, well, it's really important that we have the facts. So I want to just address the facts that in what started this whole thing without great depth. But I have the documentation here of which I will supply copies to the 4 individuals who are coming in. The existing elected officials are very familiar with this. But where this all started was the council, by our form of government, makes all ordinance rules and all policies completely for all the committees on it. For a long period of time, the library had a collective development policy that was in effect for many, many years. And one was approved on October of 2019. And the process that we worked with at that time, when there was a concern about some literature in the library, that we applied this law, this policy to that. What it simply went in to say that the Board of Trustees will provide a written response within 60 days after receiving the written appeal. And that was the process. Should the requester wish to appeal the Library Board of Trustees decision, customer may ask to have the request reviewed by the Liberty Lake City Council. The City Council will provide a final decision in writing to the customer. That's exactly what the process was. What suddenly materialized from there is that it was suddenly went off the rail. Because then what happened and approved September of 2022, just 3 years later, was the same verbiage in regards to a complaint or a concern by a citizen. But what happened is that it was changed. And what was eliminated started this whole thing. And what it went on to say, the Board of Trustees at a regular scheduled meeting, and once a decision has been rendered, the patron will receive written notification from the board. The Board of Trustees decision will be final. That started this whole issue, because in reality, why it continues to have to be with the council, that if the final decision is left with a committee member or a committee, where does that citizen go to from that point on? If it is said that that committee has final say-so, the only action they have is a lawsuit. And if that happens, then that committee is no longer involved. It strictly goes to the council. So the council has to be involved since day one. That started this whole issue. So as new council members coming in, you've been told many things. You have your own opinion, and this is documentation. I hope that you look at this as if this is not my words. This is what the policy has been for a long period of time. And I believe this is what started the issue, because when it came to the council, we supported the decision of the librarian and the trustees. It was a majority vote. It suddenly changed from there when in September of 2022, that it was put in that the council no longer has that decision-making power. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, thank you all very much. This is probably my last opportunity to just say some general words. So I want to give a big thanks to the people of the city who've given me a tremendous opportunity to serve. I also want to thank my family for putting up with the frequent meetings, the time away from home, sometimes the nasty verbal assaults that would come my way. It's customary, obviously, in a speech like this to look forward, to be optimistic. And I am optimistic about the future of the city, mainly because of our people. I do have some worries that I hope will serve, if nothing else, as a wake-up call for some of our citizens. The first is that our citizens should know that no government, whether it be the local, county, state, federal government, can survive when its budget is increasing 10 to 20, 30%, 40% each and every year. It is my opinion that many things that we are doing are driving us as a city off a fiscal cliff. That was only confirmed for me when we discussed the budget and we could not get this council to approve one reduction other than removing a drone show. Not one. Second, our citizens should know that I think, unfortunately, the nastiness and the vindictiveness that exists both at the national level and at the local level is real. I was warned about this before I ran for office. I admit it caught me a little bit by surprise. As everyone here knows, because it's been public, and the folks who have filed the complaints have made it public. I've been the subject of 3 different ethics complaints now, all costing the city tens of thousands of dollars. They've been thrown out time and time again, but they keep coming. Some members of this council, in fact, have come after my day job, launching libelous attacks on me and what I do for a living. I say this not to be bitter, but to expose, I think, the mean-spiritedness that exists. And these complaints, I believe, seek nothing more than to send a real warning to future potential candidates who may want to run for office, that if you do not toe the line and you speak opposed to something that is the general consensus of vested interests, that you will not last. And I think that that's a very troubling trend in our society. Third, I think it's important for all of us as elected officials to know that we are temporary placeholders in these seats. I know that there are some who believe that only they can do it, and they're the best ones in the community to do it. But I really believe it is our mission to let everybody have a chance to serve on a city council, and to not camp out in these seats for time on end. And finally, I want to just a little bit about free speech. Obviously, we've heard a lot about this issue with some of the controversies that have come up over the past couple of years. I think it's a little bit ironic that some who have lectured so much on free speech are the ones who have sat up and have said that things shouldn't be allowed to be discussed, or that comments online need to stop. I have a message for those folks. When the clock strikes midnight on December 31st, it won't be stopping. The free speech will be continuing. And in fact, it'll be expanding, and we'll be watching and reporting on everything that happens in these meetings. And so in 2 weeks, we will have a new supermajority on this council. And we're, in my opinion, already seeing the groundwork laid for major tax increases, and seeing the groundwork laid for ignoring the citizens. I wish council members Fisher and Severs and Klinger and Darrow all the best. And I wish city staff nothing but the best as well. And I'm optimistic, if for no other reason than I know that the citizens are in charge of this city and no one else is. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Councilmember Spencer.
Just real quick, earlier in my comments about the giving machine, I forgot to mention it's at the food court. So if you want to go do it and you're wandering around the mall, just go to the food court. It's a pretty big display. So, and then also, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to city staff, all the citizens who have been so supportive. You know, going from, you know, being an appointed member to the council and then being elected, I really appreciate the support that the citizens, countless have come up to me over the past couple of years, just in passing, in the grocery store, at church, just out in the community, farmers markets, thanking me for my service. And the privilege was really mine to be able to spend a couple of years representing these folks that they frankly don't have time to come to meetings every week and know exactly what's happening. And the comments that I consistently got were, thank you for representing me, because, you know, I can't be there. So, so I want to say thank you to all of those folks. And again, city staff, you guys have all been amazing, you know, teaching me the ropes and helping us understand the different things, because you guys are in it day to day, and we're only here, you know, a couple times a month usually. And so you're doing a great job keeping us up to speed. So. And also to Mayor Pro Tem's comments, you know, thanking my family and friends and things for, you know, tonight's my wife's birthday. My birthday happened to fall on a city council night, and I think at least 1 or 2 of my kids this year had you know, their birthday fall on a city council night. So it has been a sacrifice for them, and so I'm excited to get back to spending some more time with them. So thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else on council comments? All right, not hearing any. We are up, no public hearings or appeals, so we're up to resolution 25-282A. Rochelle.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 25-282A, a resolution of the City of Liberty Lake, Washington, adopting a fee schedule for the staff time associated with responding to requests for public records.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-282. 282, sorry.
Yeah.
Second.
Not 282A,
Yeah, you're right.
282.
Yes. We have a motion, and a second by Councilmember Severs. There's any discussion on this? I know we've had several presentations and discussions. Councilmember Severs, did you have any questions coming into?
Speed, I like the resolution.
Super. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, not hearing any. We will go to citizen comments. It's a resolution. Does anybody here or online have any comments on this topic specifically? Nothing else? Don't see anybody in chambers. Is there anybody online who'd like to make a comment on this specific resolution? Not seeing any. Okay, we'll go to a vote. Those in favor of approving resolution 25-282, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're up to second read ordinance, 76.A.
Ordinance 76A, an ordinance of the City of Liberty Lake, Washington, amending Ordinance 76, creating a civil service commission for the police department and establishing other matters properly relating thereto.
We have a motion.
Mayor, I'll move to approve ordinance 76A.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All right, questions, discussion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Can someone remind me, I asked this question at the last meeting, but now I'm having troubles finding my notes. Are we required to do this?
Yes.
So we're required to have a civil service commission. We're
Right.
not required to make these proposed changes. We're making these for the sake of meeting efficiency and such, but we're required to have by RCW, we're required to have
Right.
a civil service commission.
But it is we're basically extending the Civil Service Commission to the police department, from what I understand, by doing this?
No, it has always been exclusively focused on the police department.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. Any other questions? All right, yeah, go ahead.
I think it's very important to realize that they are totally independent on their operations on it. They're like any other committee that we have. They're absolutely totally independent of the city.
Okay, anybody else? Not hearing any? All those in, public comment. Do we have any public comment on ordinance 76A? I don't see anybody here in chambers. Is there anyone online? We don't see any. Okay. Those in favor of approving ordinance 76A, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, not hearing any. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, we have a first read for the capital facilities plan.
Ordinance number 315, adopting the 2026 through 2031 capital facilities plan.
Right. And I guess that brings us up to emergency ordinances. We have none. Introduction of upcoming agenda items. We will get, governance manuals back on there under TBD. Got a couple things for January.
Real quick question,
Yeah.
Mayor.
Yeah.
So we were told for a couple of things on 15B. We were told,
Yes.
this is the capital facilities plan. We were told we had to have this in place by the end of the year. Now this is just a first read?
I included in your agenda packet, the request that you suspend the rules
Right.
so that you could also have the second read. The ordinance, and I did basically gave you two options. Option A is striking out the library and the description of it. Option B is the version that went before you on December 3rd.
So,
You're gonna rewind.
yeah, so Sean, clarification here. If we want to discuss this tonight, do we need to waive the rules and move immediately to the second read so that we can discuss and vote?
There's nothing that precludes you from having a discussion about a proposed ordinance. The rule just requires that it's read
and put forth at two separate meetings. So I think generally the council has just taken the position of a read at the first meeting, and then the second meeting, they have more discussion about it, but nothing precludes the council from having a discussion about a first.
There's also nothing that precludes them from suspending the rules for the purpose of having a second read. Is that correct?
That's correct. They can suspend the rules for, and the rules just provide that an ordinance is read at two separate meetings. So if they wanted to suspend that rule, but at one meeting, you can do that.
So since in the last meeting, we read in ordinance as a second read, ordinance 314, and technically this would be 315?
Yeah, it's a new ordinance.
New ordinance, right?
It's a new ordinance, and the new ordinance has the library struck out
Okay, so that is,
and that's option A. You have,
Right.
there's another option that
Right.
you could decide to go with also.
okay. So then I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules and move immediately to the second read of ordinance 315.
Do we have-
Second.
okay, we have a second to suspend the rules. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor of suspending the rules to move to second read tonight, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Okay, we got 6-1. It looks like Councilmember Dunn, you are yay. Okay, sometimes you're a little delayed there, so.
Yeah, I'm an aye.
Motion passes 6-1.
So
All right.
Mayor, I'll make a motion
Hang
to,
on, hang on. Rochelle's got to read this a second.
Second read, ordinance number 315, adopting the 2026 through 2031 capital facilities plan.
so Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 315. Is there a specific version in here that you need us to approve?
Lisa, you just said the one, as it's written, it is out. I'm trying to.
The
pull
one
it.
as it's written is option A. If you wanted to do the alternate, it would be, you'd have to make a motion and vote to move the option B forward.
And option A, like you said, has the library removed.
It has it struck out. The final version will,
But moved, but it has it, I don't.
has it removed, yes.
But it's moved to the future projects.
No, I had no direction to do
That's-
that, so you.
It's stricken from the plan.
Got it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion then to approve ordinance 315.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. So it's not on the, whatever you call it, the future,
Capital facilities plan.
yeah, it's not on
For
the,
unfunded projects.
yeah,
It's
potential
not-
future projects.
It's not listed on there. You could move it there. I recognize that either of these options may not be final, which is why I didn't go through the effort to redo the whole document. You make the revisions. I will put that together for the published version.
Okay, when was it decided that we were going to move it, strike
It
it?
hasn't. That's what we're discussing tonight.
Okay, well. Huh.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. Sean wants to.
Okay.
I think the intent and Lisa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the intent was staff trying to have a capital facilities plan that would be passed by the end of the year. So staff has brought forth this ordinance 315 with having removed the library project from the plan. That's what 315 is. To the extent that the council wants to do something different, they can certainly do that with regard to either the library or anything else within the plan. But the intent was for staff to try to have a ordinance passed that approves a capital facilities plan so that it was done by the end of the year. So that's the recommendation from staff today. The council wants to do something differently, they're certainly able to do so.
And to be clear, the version that's option A with it struck out and is precisely because I couldn't bring forward the same ordinance because it failed.
Yeah.
So that's why it's ordered the way I do not have a dog in this fight.
Councilmember Ball, you done or?
No, I want to make a motion to put the new library on the potential future projects list.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So discussion on putting it on the potential future projects list, Councilmember Kurtz and then Severs.
So I think my issue with the way this has been presented tonight is partly procedural, because we voted on whether to put it on the unfunded projects list, and we also voted whether to keep it in the list. In this council, the prevailing motion, the prevailing vote was to keep it on the capital facilities plan and to keep it off the unfunded list, so to keep it as it was. So to bring back an option for us that takes out something the council has voted on twice, feels, I'm not loving it. And so I feel like that's where we're bringing back something that we have reconsidered. I know what we're saying about the ordinance itself is different because it has a different number, but the associated attachment with it has been changed, and this council actively voted twice. And so I'm looking to Sean for some, I guess, advice on how to rectify that, because if we were to take out anything other than the library, I think other people might be upset about this. But I think that this feels like a way to take the library out, and I'm Sean?
Not to pump the answer, but the answer is the council's free to make decisions on how they want to put their capital facilities plan together. Staff is just simply trying to follow its requirements by the state for having that capital facilities plan passed by the end of the year. I don't believe the sentiment was to try to go pick and choose something different than what was previously discussed for other items within the plan. So I think the decision was to, because there was an issue on both sides with regard to the library, suggested to remove that item. And to the extent that somewhere down the road, the council wanted to have further discussions about the library and the plan, they could do so. But I think the intent right now was there was an issue with that, but there wasn't an issue with anything else within the plan. So the idea was to remove that so that ordinance could pass within the capital facilities plan.
So my concern with that, though, is that the council has given direction. The council gave direction twice to keep this in the plan. And so for staff to come forward with something that doesn't include something that the council voted on twice to keep in the plan is an issue for me, and I don't know how to resolve that.
Well, certainly the council can alter that. The council can vote how each council member can vote how they see fit. Keep in mind, and I think I've said this before, obviously not at the last meeting, but certainly the premise is that the council has to be able to also act. I know we sometimes get bogged down in procedures relative to motion reconsiderations and that aspect of it. And I realize that may be one of the issues that we're talking about as it relates to how the council has acted previously. I think at this point, my interpretation is that the staff is bringing forth an ordinance. If the council doesn't like that ordinance, then their opportunity is to vote against that ordinance or make some other motion to change what the proposal is within the ordinance 315.
Mayor, point of order. Was Councilmember Ball's motion
Seconded.
It was
it was seconded, but it wasn't to revise the original motion, right? It wasn't an amendment. The original motion was to pass the ordinance. So she didn't make a motion to amend that.
Was that your intent?
To amend?
Amended the motion.
Well, my motion was to put it back on the.
Well, understood, but there was already a motion on the floor. Was your intent to amend the motion made by Councilmember Carr?
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right, so,
I'm sorry, amend it to add the library project back on the future project.
Future, yeah, on the potential future projects.
that's how I understood it.
Yes.
Okay.
Make sure all. same page.
Hold on, just to make sure. Okay, Councilmember Kennedy.
I think
So we're talking about the proposed amendment right now, not the original motion.
Right.
Okay.
Mayor, I think I was after Councilman.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Hugh was next. I apologize. Go ahead, Councilmember Severs.
I just want to say this topic has been tumultuous in recent discussions. I've watched all of them and I sat in the last one. I'll speak to, I like the library. I want to support the library, but this project, when we start putting them onto a capital facilities plan, and we are making up a budget when we throw $10 million at this, or last week it was talked about $6 million, and before that it was a different number. This number is kind of moved around. We don't know where we're putting it. We don't know what it is. So I think the project is still kind of in its infancy and should be brought back to council, to a future council. Early next year would be great. Considering putting it onto a 2027 capital facilities plan would be great.
And keep your comments to the amendment, please.
Okay. At this time, I would recommend not making this amendment and keeping it off of the capital facilities plan for now.
Okay. Councilmember Kennedy.
Sorry.
Question when available.
Yeah, I've got you.
Could you repeat what your recommendation is? I didn't hear it.
My recommendation is to not pass the amendment.
Okay. I would speak to pass the amendment because I believe as staff has come forward, I think they see that this is a way that allows them to move forward with this. And I think it puts a period on the end of this. And it certainly allows for this next year for the council to do whatever they want to do with future discussion.
Well, we got Councilmember Dunn, then Councilmember Spencer's, then Mayor Pro Tem.
My question is aligned to Councilmember Kurtz procedurally. In fact, Rochelle, if you could recount from the last meeting minutes, was there a motion to remove the library from the capital facilities plan, which failed? Can you confirm that, please?
It will take a moment, but yes, I can look for that.
On
I
page
mean, from our recollections, I believe that's accurate, but if you could please confirm that from the minutes. So to be clear, the principal question was to include or not include, and now we're being asked to reconsider. So I thought procedurally, that is actually required by somebody in the prevailing party in this situation.
Point of order, are we speaking to the amendment or are we back to talking about?
Yeah, good point. So Councilmember Dunn, can we hold your
Okay.
while Rochelle looks that up, but also, yeah, we're still talking just about the amendment right now. We'll get back to your question.
point of, I don't know if it's order or information, but we also did vote on moving it to the unfunded projects list too. So we voted on both of those things. So that might be relevant. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'll let Sean noodle on it and Rochelle look, and Councilmember Spencer.
Well, and I think there may be some confusion because the comments Councilmember Kennedy mentioned seemed to agree with Councilmember Severs rather than being opposed to the amendment. So I could be wrong there. But I will say that the mechanism used to vote down both moving it off the CFP and moving it to the potential future projects list was the same that was used in the last meeting to vote down the capital facilities plan. It was a lack of a majority. So to state that there was some sort of council directive or majority that said, no, we don't want it here on the capital facilities plan, or we don't want to move it, was the same mechanism. It was simply that there was a lack of a majority.
Point of information, on November 24th, there was a motion to remove PF 20 on page 13 of our agenda packet. And it was a 4-3 vote where the mayor broke the tie.
Yes, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, the issue that we're talking about right now is whether to put it back in as an unfunded project on the unfunded projects list. That is the amendment. If we vote yes on that, then it goes back in, then we come back and vote on the entire capital facilities plan with it back in as an unfunded project. Speaking to the point, I think we've had like 6 point of orders here, points of order. I think the difference in this case is that these are two different ordinances. 314 is the one that had all the different amendments, all the different proposals, with a bunch of different results from that. Those died. The ordinance as a whole died. And then staff brought us back a new ordinance on 315 that has something different in it. So the council is not, there's no council member asking for reconsideration on ordinance 314 or any of the things associated with ordinance 314. We're talking about ordinance 315 now, which is a different ordinance than what ordinance 314 was. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Sean, take a beat and.
I would agree with that, those comments.
All right, Councilmember Kurtz.
So the associated attachment, which is the capital facilities plan, which is same document with something struck out. So you can just attach the same document with a different ordinance number, and that makes it different. When the council has taken direct action twice. We're not, I feel like, again, the city staff has not followed the council's direction. It was clear from the vote what the outcome was of what was supposed to be in the capital facilities plan. I know that there's a new ordinance, because I think we've done this trick before, but the capital facilities plan, the line item about the library was voted on twice. And one of them was voted on at the last meeting. And the other one was on November 24th. So I think if we're moving forward with this, we've allowed city staff to take something out of the capital facilities plan that the city council has voted on twice. And now we're bringing it forward when there's a different power dynamic on the council.
Well, I guess, trying, obviously I'm not breaking any ties tonight. But, to the point that was made. So all of the votes and everything, I'm pretty much going to reiterate what Mayor Pro Tem said. So 314 is dead. And we need to have the capital facilities plan passed by the end of the year. So in order to do that, staff had to bring back something that had something different, right?
That, and again, staff is making a suggestion. This is no different than if they brought another resolution on something about sidewalks or if it's funding.
Please have Sean address the microphone.
I said there's nothing different with this proposed ordinance that's any different than any other ordinance or resolution. Staff make recommendations to council with regard to process and procedures and things that need to occur. In this case, the passage of a capital facilities. If the council does not agree with the recommendation of staff, they're certainly free to make amendments to it or alter. You can certainly make something different or a change to the capital facilities plan in a different area of the plan if that in fact is the case. So it doesn't change from that perspective of making it an alternative. So right now, 314 there's a couple options here. 314, as Mayor Pro Tem Cargill indicated, did not pass. So in this case, it came back with the library portion removed from the plan. There's an amendment to that to say, well, instead of removing it, we put it on the unfunded projects. That also would be different than 314, given what the circumstances of how 314 was passed. So if there's some other third alternative or fourth alternative that the council wants to consider to make changes to other parts of the plan that does not include the library, they can do that also. They're not precluded from doing that if they so choose.
Thank you. Not sure who's up next. Councilmember Spencer.
Yeah, I'll just, I'm going to speak against the amendment. I've talked extensively about this. I don't think we're ready to move forward on this. I think it's appropriate to just take it up. The next council can figure out what they want to do and how they want to plan for something like this. If they get the community engagement sufficient to decide that that this is more important than other tens of millions of dollars we have to spend on other projects we have going on in the city. I mean, that's just a fact. And this is going to be an expensive project. So I would speak against the amendment.
Any other comments or questions on the amendment? Well,
Again, just a quick reminder, the amendment is only about whether we're going to add it back in. The proposal that has been seconded and is on the table is 315 with it pulled out.
correct.
This is an amendment to put it back in as an unfunded project. If I
Correct.
Understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Councilmember Roll.
Councilmember Ball.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't see what the pushback is to putting it on potential future projects again, because it's not committing to anything. It's just letting the citizens know that it's a possibility. That's all.
Thank you.
I mean, I just don't see what
Okay.
the problem is.
So if there's no further comments on the amendment, we'll go ahead and take a vote on the amendment, which was to add the library to the future potential projects list. Future unfunded project list.
Potential.
Okay.
Potential projects list, they're just.
Potential projects.
They're
list.
just, nothing after 2026 is funded. So it's a
Got it.
distinction.
Okay, potential.
that-
Okay, got
that
it.
we're not
Got it.
putting
Got
money
it.
towards it.
Good. Councilmember Kennedy,
Got to figure out who's on first in one of these discussions.
if you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is we're voting on to approve or not staff's recommendation.
No. No, the thing we're voting on right now is to put the library on the future projects list.
Okay.
That's just the amendment piece. Okay. All right. No other questions. Those in favor of adding of the motion, which was add it to the future projects list, please say aye and keep your hands up. 1, 2.
Aye.
Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 in favor. All those opposed? Okay, motion fails 3 to 4. 4 to 3. Yeah. Okay, now we are back to the original motion, which was to approve ordinance 315. So we're moving to discussion on that now. Who's next? Councilmember Kurtz.
So this is the point where we can move stuff around because it's all new, right? Okay. Then I would like to make a motion to put UF 13, the community pool, on back where it was in a previous version. And then I'll speak on it if there's a second.
Remind what the, do you remember what the amount was? And it was for citing.
Is that 150,000?
Yeah, it was 150,000 for citing. I think it was in 2028, maybe.
2027, I think.
Okay. All right. So there's a motion to put UF 13 for community pool back on the capital facilities plan. Do we have a second? Not seeing one. Motion fails. Okay. Anybody else? Any further discussion on ordinance 315? Okay, not seeing. Oh, go ahead, Councilmember Kurtz.
I would like to make a motion. No, never mind. Strike that.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving ordinance 315, please say aye with your, keep your hands raised.
Aye.
Okay, I've got 4 aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion passes 4 to 3. We have an approved capital facilities plan. Okay, we have no emergency ordinances, introduction of upcoming agenda items, which is where I think we left off. Governance manual will be added back on.
Mayor, I'm gonna make a motion. Let me get my calendar up here. Sorry about that. For a special meeting on December 22nd for the governance manual.
Do we have a second?
Would it be possible to change that to the 23rd?
Sure.
I might be able to join digital.
I can.
You haven't been second yet, so you
Yeah.
can change it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to do a special meeting on the 23rd at 6 PM for the governance meeting.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Councilmember Kurtz.
Mark and Sean, can you walk through, even if we get through the one chapter, I think there were 19 other chapters that we still haven't gone through.
Correct.
So at what point we get through all of that, what happens next? In order to get to an approved, a part where we can approve or disapprove?
Staff would take all of those recommendations that were produced through all of that dialogue, put them into a coalesced version of a draft plan, bring it back in a workshop for confirming discussions. And then it would come forward at some future meeting as a resolution to be adopted.
Is it realistic that can be done this year?
In that process, the answer is no, because in that process, I'm gonna have to go through all of it
Right.
and review as far as from a legal perspective, everything that's in there after staff goes through it, and that won't happen before the end of the year.
So I think my question is, I appreciate that there's some discussion that people are wanting to have before the end of the year. But I think that if we're not able to do it before January 1st, we're still going to have the same discussion with the next council too. So I'm not sure that trying to get it all, it's not going to be tied up in a bow by the end of the year. And so I guess I'm trying to understand what tying it up in a bow means. Is it just going through that last chapter, or is it actually trying to approve it by the end of the year?
Go ahead.
So my thoughts on this particular issue were that the three people who for the past year and a half have been working on this should be the ones that guide us through the discussion. And two of those three people are not with us after December 30th. Well, they're still with us, but they're not here after sorry. I don't mean to preemptively put you in the grave.
I think
This is my tombstone.
They will no longer be on council after December 31st. So my goal with this was to make sure that even if it's not 100% approved, that it is wrapped up and nicely presented to the next council. And maybe Sean takes his New Year's holiday and works on nothing but our governance manual. And then at the first meeting of 2026, it can be presented to the council as a completed project. Perhaps.
Thanks for clarity. Do you want to follow up on that? Because I've
Yeah,
got two other people who, go ahead.
Is that realistic, that the first meeting in January?
Or whenever.
Just
I can say from staff's perspective, that's not realistic. There's no way that we can coalesce it in that amount of time.
I got Councilmember Dunn, then Councilmember Severs.
I first mechanically, I'm not going to be available for council meetings between the 23rd and the 30th of the month. And then I just find the notion of compressing this to be an extraordinary burden on staff on what is honestly a very stressful time at the end of the year anyway. So I speak against the motion. I don't think it's useful to schedule a special meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Severs.
Yeah, I think some really great points are being made, and as I'm thinking through a special meeting and buttoning up this for a first meeting of next year, even if it's a second or third meeting, I don't think it's fair to ask a new council to vote on something when they weren't part of the dialogue and discussion. So I think for that reason, I'd recommend declining the motion or declining the motion.
Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing to keep in mind too, with regard to the governance manual, that we're also working on the social media portion of it. And there's some interplay between both the governance manual and the social media code of ethics aspect to it. So that's also a part of it. So, there's going to be some of that for the new council to have to go through and review in conjunction with the governance manual. So it's not just the governance manual. aspect of it, relative to passage.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem, whatever your name.
And I think that is the reason why we're sitting here tonight. Is because of that piece. That was on the future workshops, then it was off, then it was on, then it was off. Now it's back off again. Oh, no, excuse me, it's on again. It's number 4 as a TBD. Again, my point has been all along that council members Kennedy, Kurtz, and Spencer spent a huge amount of time going through this and making recommendations. And out of just respect for the fact that they did so, it is only fair to have them involved in whatever the final whatever the final product ends up being, whether that is approved by the next council in February or April or whenever. It, I think, is very disrespectful to the work that they did. Why even have an ordinance, or why even have a committee to look at this if we're just going to push it off to when they're not even on the council anymore? And I know this to be the case because I remember hearing Mike say it over and over again. When are we going to talk about this? When are we going to talk about the social media piece? Over and over. And we kept hearing it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Councilmember Kurtz.
And Mayor Pro Tem, just so you know too, I did follow up on that after I think the last time that Councilmember Kennedy, you mentioned it, to ask when we could get it on, and asked, I think Mark and Sean, if looking at, I think I said February-ish, to get that back forward, knowing that we had to finish the governance manual and then get to the social media thing too. So I don't want you guys to think that there's any resistance on my part to getting it forward. Councilmember Ball and Councilmember Dunn and I did some work on that, and I feel like we had that done in the summer, but we just haven't been able to move forward with that yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sean hasn't had time to get to it, so.
Oh, and we've also had the budget and other.
Right,
things.
yeah,
Yep.
so, I mean.
Okay, all right, Councilmember Kennedy and then Spencer.
I think the choice of having another meeting, I think I would rather be hit with a stick. This subject to me has been like nailing Jello to a tree. We can't get a hold of this thing because it's on, it's off, we can't do it, we can do it, whatever the case may be. 3 of us put a lot of time and effort into this, more so the 2 council members other than myself was not able to attend every single meeting on it. I would support having one more meeting. I must be out of my friggin' gourd to say that. Benefit would be this. We have 4 council members coming in who have not been part of this discussion at all. At all. What they would benefit from is paying attention to this last meeting on what we discussed and what we worked on. Because if not, come after January, when they were going to make the decision anyway, we just only have 1 individual left to give the interpretation of 3 individuals that put a lot of time and effort into this. So the Jello was slipping between my fingers. I don't want another meeting. I'm getting the motorhome headed south. I would vote yes, 1 more meeting for the benefit of the 4 individuals who have not had any time whatsoever, for the benefit of the 3 to be able to have this discussion.
Okay, next we had Councilmember Spencer and then Severs.
One question I had is, has there been any updating of the document from the changes that were proposed? From the discussions we've had up to this point, or were we waiting until we kind of had all the conversations?
We've recorded all of the changes that have been proposed, and some have been voted on. So all of those are recorded. Whether they're actually
in the
incorporated in the document or not is, I suspect the answer is no, because we were waiting to get through the rest of it to what I'm calling a coalesced copy to create that. But yes, we've recorded all of that.
Yeah, so I guess my initial concern with some of the comments that have been made is whether those will make it into the actual document before, let's say we don't have a meeting next week and it goes to the new council. Are we gonna have all those changes that were voted on incorporated into the document and presented to that new council? That would be my preference. If for some reason we don't decide to have another meeting, and I agree, Councilmember Kennedy, I don't want to have another meeting, especially on this topic that, the three of us have spent countless hours talking about, and it's not something I've ever really been that excited about in the first place. But, we put in the work and also, I will say, because Councilmember Sievers mentioned he'd probably not be in favor of this, and there will be no love loss if you vote against having another meeting. Either way, I think we need to make sure that the new council has everything up to date according to the discussions we had. So if that moves into the new year, even if it takes a couple of meetings before you guys can get all of those changes incorporated into the document, I think there were some comments about, all the work we put in. I don't think that's lost per se. We captured as much of those things in our committee meeting as possible. And so I think the unfortunate part is we didn't have a chance to, because there were certain points that we said, this definitely needs to go to the council. So there was no consensus amongst the committee. So that's my only concern. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if we're not going to have a meeting, I really think it's important that updated document go to the new council rather than the original document without those changes captured.
Good. No, I got Councilmember Sievers first, then Kennedy, and then Kurtz.
You guys swayed me. I'm good with a meeting. I think that's a good point, that let's bring it back to public forum, public discussion. Let's keep the information moving. I'm as dumb as dirt when whatever we're talking about right now, I haven't been a part of any of it. And I'm saying that just to say, it sounds like it was important enough to put a lot of time and effort in. I'd hate for anything to be lost in translation there as we move it in. I would hope that we can go into it without, with just sort of a general notion that we're not trying to fast track this and get on the first vote next year to button it all up, but let's use this as an opportunity to move information forward. I'm good with a meeting to get up to speed. It's not just for me, it's for public forum, public discussion, and watching, so this can move forward to a new council.
Councilmember Kennedy.
What we looked at, the three of us, I think we have 96 or 99 pages we looked at. Spokane Valley, which is 10 times larger than us, has 63 pages on it. So we're 30 some odd pages more. Because I have no life last few days, I went through the whole thing again. God forgive me. And of all of that, there's only 2 items on there that I'm not in favor of. It is a slam dunk as far as I'm concerned. I think that what we've done, what we put together, Councilman Annie Kurtz has put together initially is very, very good. I think the three of us put a lot of time and effort into that. Some of the things maybe I'm not totally warm and fuzzy about, but I support it. And there's only, like I say, 2 very, very simple things that if I brought it forward and they didn't get passed, fine.
Hey, Councilmember Kurtz.
Just because Councilmember Kennedy just mentioned at the length of the document, I think that's because there's a lot of parts and pieces that are these option A or option B, and those are the things that we all couldn't agree on. And so we wanted to bring that back for the council discussion. And to Jed's point, I think that having the changes that were made incorporated into it makes sense. I don't want any of that to be lost. And then all of our comments are still in the document. So everything that Jed had, Jed, yours would stand out more. I'm not sure if I had a whole lot from you, Kennedy. I think we did most of yours verbally in the meeting. But Jed had a lot of comments on there, and then mine are in there too. So I don't think that there's going to be any historical knowledge lost if we wait. We've had people that are coming on to council. They've been here attending meetings and watching meetings too. So I feel like they will probably, hopefully be up to speed, and hopefully a copy of the document can be given to them if they don't have one already. I don't, as you said, Mike, Councilmember Kennedy, I would rather be hit with a stick than come back again too. And for that reason, just because I would like to spend time with my family, like you guys have talked about today, at the holiday season. And as much as fun as this is in the governance manual, I just would rather that staff and us can be focusing on the season instead of this document. So.
So before you move on, Mayor, just a couple of points of context to point out. December 23rd, for the record, is Festivus. And so I can make that. But beyond that, and this has happened to a fair degree as we've had these discussions all along. I don't know how much in the chapters to come this is baked in there, but I'm not sure how many staff is available next week. And so that's a limiting factor.
Because
that needs
City
to
Hall's
be
closed
discussed.
on the Christmas Eve,
Yikes.
right?
Say again?
We're closed on Christmas.
Yes.
24th.
Yes.
So even if there is a vote to have another meeting on the 23rd, there may not be anybody here to turn the lights on.
Well, that's being a little drastic, Mayor.
Yeah.
I guess what I would really like to know is if we are even gonna entertain this idea of us all coming back on Tuesday when none of us want to be here and none of us want to be discussing this topic, what is it that we're hoping to accomplish? Just another discussion through a couple of chapters, because we're not gonna try and pull a 9-10 o'clock meeting. So I guess I'm just trying to understand, if we're gonna all make that sacrifice, what is it that we hope to push forward? Because otherwise, I think also I don't think Mark's gonna be able to put all the things that we voted on and all the things that we've discussed, put those in the document by Tuesday, right?
Let me clarify. Are those already in the document? Possibly.
Okay, so some of them, so possibly, yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Okay, all right. There's no other Councilmember Ball.
Yeah, I haven't said anything yet about this, but I don't really think it's fair to staff, try to ram this through and to some extent, I just think we'd be pushing through and not really have our hearts into it because we'd rather be with our family or friends on the 23rd, enjoying Festivus.
Councilmember Kurtz.
If we don't end up meeting before the end of the year, I will assure Councilmember Spencer and Councilmember Kennedy that anything that you guys, even if I didn't agree with it, that we talk about it. We spend a lot of time together working through this, and I hope the next council finishes the part of it, but I wouldn't under any circumstances allow something that you guys felt strongly about to not go discussed amongst the council in the future. So if that gives you any hope for spending the 23rd with your families, that's what I would commit to.
I call for the question.
Anybody opposed to calling the question? It's headed there. Nobody. Okay. All right. Those in favor of scheduling a special meeting on the 23rd, please say aye and keep your hand raised. Okay. Those opposed? All right. Motion fails 4-2, and guess I'm not calling in from what? Yeah, I watched. Yeah. Four. Yeah, 5-2. Sorry. So good. I don't have to make an international call to run the meeting. Okay. All right. So anything else on this upcoming workshops? I think we've got a pretty full schedule coming ahead. We don't have any emergency ordinances. Oh, we already did that. No, citizen comments are next. Don't everybody rush. If we have anybody here in Chambers, please get us a half sheet. If there's anybody online, please send a note to our meeting host in chat. Assuming there's nobody. No, okay. We have no executive session. And with that, we are adjourned from our last meeting of 2025. Thank you, everybody, for your work this year, and good luck in travels and everything else everybody's doing. Have a safe and wonderful holiday.
Oh, I bet you're